we're live here tonight with Carrie, or today, I guess, this afternoon. She's awesome and gracious enough to join us and be willing to share her story. So I'll let you kind of introduce yourself, Carrie. Go ahead.
I'm Carrie Kahn. I run my own business. I'm a reseller of QuickBooks software and also do support for QuickBooks. So I'm busy. And before I met Jared, my life was crazy. Traveled a lot, traveled for fun, traveled for work, went for work and turned it into fun. And as a result, I gained a bunch of weight and I didn't know where to begin to get rid of it. So stumbled upon Jared. I think he Facebook friend requested me. I was like, who is this guy? He knows some of my friends that are similar situations, running their own business, going crazy. And so I just started paying attention. I was like, wait a minute, this is starting to make sense. So that's how we met. I met you.
Yeah, we connected. Cool. So that's fantastic. And so tell us about, had you tried other things before working? Tell us about kind of your journey as far as, what you tried.
So growing up, I never, ever had a weight problem. I even had people ask me, they're like, are you anorexic or bulimic? You're so thin. And I wasn't. I just had a high metabolism, no big deal. And then over the years, I had 4 kids and it got harder and harder to lose the weight. I remember, in between having some kids trying Atkins and having short-term results and just studying as much as I could, trying to eat clean. I thought I did. I learned a whole lot more from you about that. I tried eating clean. I've tried, eating, exercise. And usually the problem I found with exercise was my knees would hurt because of all the extra weight I gained. So I felt I was like, no pain, no gain. And I struggled with that and feeling guilty about, I need to get up and go to the gym at 5:30 in the morning. And I thought it was, I needed to do yoga. I tried everything. I've tried I did a program with a local doctor with the diet pills and shakes and all that stuff and I did lose some weight and it stayed off for a short while, probably maybe 6 months to a year when I added exercise, but it never was long term. So I felt like everything I tried, I wasn't even eating too much. It wasn't calories or anything. I didn't have the right formula going on. And I kept saying, well, maybe it's because I'm older and maybe it's because menopause and it is what it is. And I just felt stuck. And as my weight started creeping to 200, that's when my brakes hit. I'm like, nope, but I couldn't get it to come maybe 5 pounds. And that went on for a couple months. I was like, this is terrible. I feel terrible. I didn't sleep well. I had aches and pains on my hip and my knees. And I've got a new grandchild coming, and I'm thinking that I didn't actually know that till midway working with you, but knowing that could be in my future, I was like, I want to be around for this. And with like pre-diabetes coming on, I was going nowhere fast.
Yeah. That's tough. That's frustrating, right? To try and not see the results and it just like not really go anywhere and almost get worse over time. So.
And the guilt of, I know I need to walk and exercise and I just could pick, and I tried walking with my husband who walks really fast and my knees would hurt. And I'm like, something's just wrong. And I didn't know if it was, some medical problem. I found a new doctor before you, and we did panels of everything. And he didn't even see pre-diabetes, but he's like, you need to lose 10 or 15 pounds and handed me the program on, how to do that. He goes, in 1 year, that's what I want you to lose. So I can't wait to go see him 6 months from that appointment to show him it's not that, it's 50 pounds, or by then it might be the 60, the goal.
Yeah. Cool. So, which is so awesome. I mean, we've lost 50 or just over 50 pounds in basically the last, 6 months.
Started March. It was St. Patty's Day. So March 17th, and today's is still August. So 5-ish months.
5-ish months.
May, June, July, August, 5-ish month, a little over 5 months.
Wow. over 50 pounds down. And during stress of COVID,
COVID.
Corona, like all that jazz, which we won't get into, but that causes stress for people, and most people are gaining weight,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, and I was seeing all of my friends posting about the corona weight, and it actually in a weird way helped me because I was away from all those influences. It was like and being in an AA program and separating yourself from all the social aspects. So in a weird way that helped me, but the stress was definitely a thing. And having, and you kept saying mindset and get good sleep. And during corona, that's not easy. 5 months later, I'm way different. That March was a scary time. It really was.
Yeah.
But I managed to get a routine and do what I needed to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So maybe kind of tell us a little bit about that process. Like as you've gone through this process together, and, we've obviously been working together for 5 months or however long it's been. What's been things that you've learned? What's been different for you from previous, kind of working through things before? What were some of the things you've kind of noticed about that?
So different from before was, when I didn't do the shakes and all that stuff. Different from before is that the food was better. Doing the Atkins, it's, breakfast food. And I got into the rut of, bacon. You can have bacon and oils and da, 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 da. And it didn't feel right. I'm like, why are we allowed to do this? Yes, no bread. I was doing no bread now is not a big, I can do that. That's not a big deal. But all the rules just didn't make sense. Like, this does not make sense, but it somehow, temporarily worked. But it made you crave sugar so bad. And I don't have as I've told you 100 times, I don't really have a sweet tooth, but I love fruit. And so what I really loved about it made sense was you have your healthy meat, your healthy chock full vegetables, and the fruit, and nothing, and the food tasted amazing. The hardest part for me was getting used to no oil and working around that using the bone broth, which was important during COVID to boost up your immunity. So I ended up making a lot of stews and soups and comfort food. Enjoying steak. I love steak, asparagus and blueberries. And I mean, the food just, I can't believe how good the food tasted. I was fearful that it wasn't going to be enough food. And there's some days now I'm in that, the lock-in phase with everything's a little bit more quantity. And sometimes I can't even finish it all. I'm like, I'm full.
Yeah.
So, I don't feel deprived at all. The only time I do have a problem if I have our friends over and they're enjoying a glass of wine, I have my solution is LaCroix. I feel like,
Perfect.
so I found things to make me feel like I'm not missing out and I can still enjoy their company and stay on the program, because they're in shock when they see me. They're like, what happened?
Yeah. Yeah. We all went into quarantine, and Carrie changed. She had this transformation. She came out and totally different. So that's exciting.
Yeah, huge difference. So that's been the fun part.
Yeah.
If it was gradual for them, I wouldn't have gotten so much feedback. But they were like, "What happened?"
Yeah. Cool. So as you've kind of experienced this process, and it's been different, obviously, like food, we eat real food, like, no bars, no shakes, no nothing. What
Yeah.
are some things you feel like are kind of key things for you, as many as you want, one or two or three, that you feel like will help you long term to maintain the weight? Because some people be like, well, 50 pounds in 5 months, how are you going to keep that off? Right.
Yeah.
So how, I mean, as far as in your mind, like, what are some things you feel like are going to allow you to actually do that?
So one thing that I just realized I didn't say earlier was, so as soon as I signed up, I had to sit down and it's just my husband and I were empty nesters. So I had to sit down and have a talk with him. So he wants to be healthy and do all these things. He's retired. But I had to get him on board, and it was kind of hard for me to explain what we were doing. He's of course lost weight just not eating the breads and stuff by osmosis. He's still enjoying his ice cream and so forth, and not losing as much as me, but still making progress and mindset and stuff, because I've taught him some of the stuff. Like, if you know you can break 200, he's just about to break 200 because he's now told himself he can. It's amazing. So getting him on board was big, and then figuring out the meal plan, that I got a little bit stuck on that. But today, like, he goes, I need to go to the grocery store. I'm like, get a meat, get a vegetable, and get some fruit, and we can fill in with the rest. And as seasonings, that primal palate, whatever
Yeah, Primal Kitchen.
Primal Kitchen stuff, just delicious. And then I love that stuff. And so I went on Amazon. I'm like, let me get some more flavors to just flavor the meat, as alternatives. So so in some senses, it's going to make meal planning and grocery shopping easier to know. That's really the basic, and you can fill in from there. And then we had the wedding, which was early August, where I had to deviate and make some. And I handled that. I was nervous because I'd been hiding in quarantine. So it's been easy for that. But I gained a whole 3 pounds, and in 2 straight days, they came right off. I just circled back to what I was doing before we left. Easy peasy. I was like, wow, my body is working. That never would have happened before. Christmas time, every time a big holiday or something would come, or vacation, it would be like, ugh. So that was really exciting, seeing it come bouncing right off. I called it my sins, and my sinning time, and I didn't pay a long-term price for that. So
Yeah.
that was
Awesome.
really good.
Cool. Well, I want to hear more about the wedding and the benefits, the things you've experienced. So obviously we've, like, just the fun things, the benefits of, as you've experienced through the process. I know at the wedding, it was like wow, like, this is different, and so I want to hear a little about what you've experienced as you've gone through, as far as just the benefits you've seen.
Well, benefits was the biggest benefit was being in a size 6. I don't even know that I was in a size 6 in high school. I remember being a size 8 unless I wore my clothes baggy, but even 8s are looking baggy. I'm in a size 6, and I was in a 14, and as I was hitting the top of my weight. So I was able to feel normal again and not have the poochy stomach, and which I never ever thought was possible, ever. So that was one benefit. And I mean, people that hadn't seen me were like, "Oh, what in the world are you doing?" So that was interesting, and getting and doing family pictures and finally being proud of the way I look. That was one of the best parts. And then the second thing that I never expected to happen. Now, this is, mind you, this is a COVID wedding, and we weren't allowed to dance. So this is was a sinful moment. So my mom and I jumped up near our table, and we were able to line dance. And it got to the part where, how low can you go? And normally when I make that mistake, I suffer the next couple days. And there's been times where I've spent a fortune going to the physical therapy, finding out what did I do to blow out my knee, and I can't walk, and I'm swollen, and just everything wrong. I did it 10 times, showed my dad. I'm like, watch this, Dad. And he's had knee replacements, so he was really jealous. I said, 10 times. I can go all the way to the floor and come back up, and it doesn't hurt. And so I was afraid that the next day, I was going to eat those words, and I didn't. Other than we did fly back, and I had a little bit of retention, but it wasn't from the dancing. It was drink more water, and then I was fine. But I was shocked. I was like, okay, that's a game changer. And the next time we talked, I was like, I'm not forgetting that, because I feel like I've gotten some of my youth back, because I love to dance. I love to dance. So that was major. So that, I guess that's the swelling inflammation thing that we're trying to get rid of. It's not on my knees anymore, waiting for some mistake. So
yeah, very cool. I mean, that's huge. I mean, the ability to move, be active, do what you love, whether that's dancing or for whoever, hiking, whatever people love to do. Like, when you drop the weight, you get the body healthy, you reduce that inflammation.
Oh,
It's
and
huge.
the third thing that happened during the wedding was the food wasn't exactly like I was used to. So I had to improvise and wing it. And I actually, had some foods I hadn't had in a while, and some of them tasted kind of greasy, um, and some of the places I had to figure out what places were cooking healthier, where I could trust that they were using olive oil instead of peanut oil or the other kind. So that was interesting. I could almost tell by taste if it was healthy or not, which, restaurant food usually tastes really good to me.
Yeah.
But I steered away from, I had some mistakes, but it wasn't the end of the world. They had, instead of the cake, they had cupcakes. So I was like, oh, let me have a cupcake. And I was like, I don't even miss this. I tasted it, got enough of, I tasted it. Wasn't that, it just, I don't really have a sweet tooth. You could have given me a bowl of blueberries and I would have been happy. But
Yeah. Cool. So just the recognition of like real food tastes great and we don't
so much
need all the
better.
other stuff. And so very cool. And like in the beginning, sometimes it's hard to remember 5 months ago.
Yeah.
I know there's some initial changes, the benefits that were happening like in the first month or 6 weeks that now you're not, dealing with. I mean, anything else you've seen as far as just throughout the whole process?
Just slowly but surely, sleeping better. I mean, that I probably didn't notice that like immediately. Um, but now I'm like, I'm sleeping great. I didn't realize how many aches and pains I had from being overweight. I like to sleep on my side and my hip would hurt. Um, the mindset thing, I can't believe how much of a difference that made. In fact, after we had our first initial call, I lost 5 pounds just because I knew I was going to do it, which I thought I did not have any clue. That's why I taught my husband, and
Yeah.
he's now breaking the 200 barrier. So mindset is pretty mission critical. I didn't realize. Oh, I know this is a biggie. This is huge. This is huge. I forgot this one. I don't even know if I've told you this one or not, but you may remember. So about a year ago, we went on a trip, and I ended up getting sick on the trip and getting really dehydrated. And over time, I was never drinking enough water. And I couldn't figure out what was wrong. And I've gone, every doctor I went to, I was like, I can't figure out why I can't quench my thirst. And this went on and on for almost a year ago, until about maybe 6 weeks ago, I realized that my thirst is quenched now. I wasn't drinking enough water, and it took that long for me to get it fixed. I mean, it was like I had cotton mouth and I couldn't figure out why. I'm not taking any medicines. And I thought, oh, it's menopause or some kind of nonsense. And I mean, I asked the dentist, I asked my regular doctor, the women doc, everybody. And they were like, I don't know somebody even checked me for a disease. And there was nothing came up. And it's drinking. I wasn't used to drinking enough water, and I had to turn an alarm on my phone to remind me to drink enough water.
Yeah.
So that's been game changing for
That's,
me,
that's
because I
huge.
tend to just dehydrate, and I wait till I'm thirsty instead of just keeping something going.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, that's huge. I mean, it's no fun to be dehydrated and have cotton mouth and feel thirsty and all that. And I remember that in the beginning. Uh,
Yeah.
so that's awesome to hear that's
It was
transition.
just
That's not really happening anymore.
it was literally dehydration over the years. I just let it happen. I didn't realize it. And that it was like a stomach bug that had gotten me to the point of no return. And even Gatorades, which I know are high in sugar, nothing really worked. And then you were like, start putting some salt. And so I did these tricks, and then I just forgot about it. So I'm thinking it might have even been more than 6 weeks ago. I was like, it's gone. That it was cottonmouth, just terrible. So weird, the ailments and all the weird stuff. I thought I had some kind of a disease that I needed to. They thought it might be some autoimmune disease, and it was dehydration. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing how you start doing the right things, giving your body the right things, and all of a sudden it starts working the right way. It's really cool.
yeah, exactly. So That was a biggie. That, and now that I can, how low can you go? I can do that without pain.
Yeah. Well, and the cool thing is as you kind of mentioned, like people think the older I get, the more pain I should have, the less I'll be able to do the things I love, the more I should be overweight, sleep worse. But like all of those things are getting better, and it has very little to do with age and everything to do with how well our body functions, which is awesome.
Well, what's funny is when we first moved in this house, we had a sock fall behind the washer, and my husband's 7 years younger than me, and he goes, "I can't bend over and get that." And he like sent me over the edge to get it. So 7 years later, I'm all of a sudden I'm thinking, "Oh, this," and I started having the same things, and it wasn't from being old; it was from the inflammation. And so now I'm like, I can go get that sock, and so now he can too. So it's this mind over matter thing that we think, and what you think when you're getting older that you're supposed to go through these things, and then you make it happen. So it's nice to know I don't have to, cry when I have to get down on the floor. I can now go, I can bounce back up. No big deal.
Yeah, yeah, that's huge. That's awesome. So very cool. I mean, those are amazing things, Carrie. I mean, really life changing. I'm so excited for you as far as the progress that has happened. Obviously, that will continue to happen for the rest of your life, to be able to keep going as low as you can until you're 80, 90 years old. I'm excited for you, obviously, for all that progress. So very, very exciting. Congrats on all of those things. Now, as I always like to ask too, just kind of last thing, wrap things up here. If someone's kind of like sitting on the fence, like, I don't know, maybe should I do it? Thinking about doing the program, working with us, what would you say to that?
Well, I mean, I tried to figure it out myself. I've signed up for everything. And if I took the money that I wasted on all these stupid scams that don't work and all these apps and thinking I had to exercise, I would have done this a lot sooner. I knew how to eat, read the labels, and I knew about, the breads and stuff, but it didn't all come full circle until I finally met you. And it just made sense. I didn't have to, luckily I knew some of the things. I didn't have to go from scratch, but it just all makes sense. And it's something that I can, because of the one-on-one coaching with you, instead of, just seeing a doctor and getting a prescription, you're able to customize it and talk me. I remember one phone call, you had to talk me off the ledge. I said, I can't do it. I'm done. I've lost my 30 pounds and that's it. And you said, and I really thought that was, nope, I can't. I just can't. So that to me was, worth it. And now think of all the medicines I don't have this disease. I thought I had some immune disease, and I would have been diabetic on stupid insulin. I mean, if I kept going, I would have wasted money in another way that's unhealthy and shortened my life. So I think the return on investment's pretty good.
Yeah.
And the sleep and the energy. So I'm getting more work done. I'm not as, thanks to COVID, I don't have to travel. I'm not worn out from that, but I'm able to be more productive, long term. I feel a whole lot better getting things done. So
Yeah, cool.
it's
Well,
really
and
helped me stress wise and in a weird way that I didn't expect.
yeah, it does. And especially as a business owner, like that's huge. More productivity, to be in control of your emotions, your mindset. Your like when you regulate your food, your emotions regulate too, which is
Yeah.
really interesting. So that's huge. Those are huge things for sure.
Yeah.
So, well, awesome, Carrie. Well, I appreciate you joining us and sharing your story. Congrats on the progress, the success, the all the fun things that you've experienced, and I'm excited, obviously, for the future as well. The more things you'll experience, also.
Well, and thanks for pulling me off the ledge when I was ready to give up after the 25. I don't remember what it was. It was about halfway, and I was like, I'm done. I think my body won't, because I had that moment where you get stuck, things happen, and you're like, no, you can power through this, and you were right. I'd never thought it would happen.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm excited for you, and it has happened. And the cool thing is it'll continue to stay the same and continue to happen. So I'm excited for you.
Yeah, that's the most important part. I mean, you can do anything for a short period of time, but 5 months later, I don't want to, I want to keep this on. So,
Yeah, cool. Well,
or
awesome.
keep it
Well,
off
keep
rather.
it off. Yeah, keep the progress going.
Keep the
So
progress going.
yeah,
Keep the plan going. The weight off.
yeah, cool. Well, good. Well, thank you, Carrie. Appreciate your time. And
Welcome.
I'm excited for all your
Hope that
success. Congrats again.
hope that helps others when they're contemplating doing this. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I appreciate that. So, okay. Thanks, Carrie. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.